Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So in my previous videos, I have displayed how to apply skilled worker visa and what are the different documents that are needed to apply skilled worker visa and how to compare these fields with your certificate of sponsorship and what are the details you have to take care of while filling the application. So in this video, let us cover all those details for the dependent visa. So as usual, I clicked dependent visa in the Google and I'll go here, skilled worker visa, your partner and children. It always works for me if I start from Google, it will take me to the right link. Because skilled worker visa, your partner and children. So we have gone through all these details when we are applying skilled worker visa application. So now we are here where we have to apply your partner and children. So there are two cases where your partner is traveling with you while you're traveling to UK, or your partner will be traveling later. So there are two cases and we have to consider all these details while filling the application, when they'll be traveling and what is the reason they're traveling later, and all those things. Details like who is eligible for this dependent partner visa. It can be your husband, wife, and also civil partner or unmarried partner, and your kids. So you should prove your relationship status by using your marriage certificate, or where you're residing together, showing financial dependency, travel history, and all those. And we can see those details a little later. And you should also prove that you have a certain amount of money in your savings account, so that you can support your partner or child. But if your sponsor or if your employer is giving the maintenance, then you don't need to prove here. So let me show you in the COS. So let us find the data in the COS. So let us go here. Tick to certify maintenance for migrant and dependent if applicable. So if your employer who is providing certificate of sponsorship is maintaining you and also dependents, in that case you don't need to prove your bank balance, but if not, you have to show certain amount in your visa. So 285 for your partner and 315 for child and 200 for each additional child. So you can find all the details here in the website how much you would need, and that money should be in your account for at least 28 days. So let us see the application form. We are applying online as a partner outside the UK. So clicking here. Initial details of the application are pretty much similar to our skilled worker visa, but in this we have to mention all the details of the dependent and also the original applicant, skilled worker applicant, their sponsorship details, employer details, job code, everything along with the dependent personal details and all this. So let us see them quickly. So click here. Do you have current passport? In my case, I don't have, so but if you have it, please mention it here. So confirm your visa type. Right now I'm applying as a dependent, so partner dependent visa PBS. So if I'm applying for the child, then I'll go with this. We'll discuss that little later. So this is for the partner. Where are you planning to live? So mention the place where you wanted to live. So, where is the place you want to give your biometrics? In my case, I'm living in India, so I'll select India is the place where I'll give my biometrics. But based on your country, based on your location that is feasible for you, please select the location. So, just like how we have found a VFS Global Center for skilled worker visa application, we'll also have to find VFS Global Center where you have to give your biometrics once this visa is filled. So, if you want to see how we can find an application center, please check my skilled worker visa application video where I have displayed like how to go here, like find a visa application center which is near to you and what are the different services they offer. So choose it wisely and that is near for you and which will work better for you. So we have to select the application center and then we have to move to the next step. So I have identified the location where I'll provide my biometrics. Next. So, who is going to fill this visa application form is it's for dependent partner visa of skilled worker. So, our skilled work is also mentioned here. So, we can go and start the application. So, we have to read the eligibility and how to apply and required documents. Okay, so what are the details we need? Let us see here. Along with our details, we also need our partner's passport details because they have the original sponsorship. So we need all the details. And if your partner is a sponsored worker, their COS, we are going to refer all the COS details of the original applicant in our application also. So make sure you have everything handy and correct details, just like how you have carefully entered all the details while you're applying for skilled worker visa. In the similar way, you have to apply very carefully while you're applying for the partner visa also. So what how to apply? Okay, complete the application form and we have to pay the health surcharge and visa fee, and then we have to book an appointment in the VFS Global Center and we have to go there and give our biometrics. Okay. This part is very easy, like booking the appointment and going there. And as I have told in my previous videos, if it is possible for you, select a package that will help you with digital application submission, where they'll be reaching to you for online appointment and they'll scan all your documents, which is very easy. And if you go to VFS center just to give your photograph and the fingerprints, the process is really fast tracked in that way. And we have to pay our application fees and health surcharge. This is pretty much similar to our skilled worker visa. So this is a constant one based on how many years, if it's less than years, less than 3 years, and more than 3 years. Okay. And health surcharge is dependent on how many years you're going to live in UK. So it's like multiplied by number of years. It's almost same as skilled worker visa. Okay. You can find all the details here. Let's click on apply now. So here we have to start by giving our email address. Make sure you give a proper one which you use it, because whenever you pause the application, a link will be sent to your email ID from which you can resume your application. For example, if you keep it open and if you have completed only half of the application, if you want to get back, that is the way to go to the place where you have paused. Okay, so you don't need to fill everything all again if you have that link in the email. So make sure you give the proper one which you're using right now. And also we have to create a password so that we can log in next time. Next step is you have to give the details of the original applicant. We have to give the COS details, name exactly. So make sure you give the details exactly that are there in the COS. Remember, it's not your details, it's your partner details, like whoever is the original applicant of the skilled worker, we have to give their details in this step. Let us go to the next step. We have to give their nationality and also date of birth. Then we have to give their passport details. In this step, we have to specify, are we traveling with them or we want to plan later, and how we are traveling. So when are you and the original applicant are traveling? I'm traveling before or together and after. So I'm selecting I'm traveling after, but if you're traveling together, you can always select traveling together. What is their status? For example, did they just apply to the visa or they have already received their skilled worker visa? So you have to mention it clearly. So here select what is the type of visa they have issued. So it's skilled worker including title general, and any references. For example, it depends upon their application status. So if they have completed their application already, they will have this GWF number or VAF number. And if they have already received their visa, you will have some more details. But in my case, I'm going with GWF number because I'm considering the case where I just have applied my skilled worker visa original application. So once that application is submitted, I'll have their GWF number and I'm going to give it here. We have to specify their visa end date. Do you know the visa end date? For example, if they already have a visa, then you know the end date. But if they don't have visa, in you can specify as no. But if they have already visa granted and if you are applying later, so you can click yes and you have to give the details about their visa. Okay. They do already have the permission. So for example, they have already got the visa. In that case, you can mention yes. But if they just applied application little before you and the visa is not yet granted, you can just give no. So here you have to give the sponsorship detail. So here we have to give the sponsor license number. So this is not the COS or certificate number, but you have to give the license number. So this you can find it in your COS also. So here you can find sponsor license number. So this is the one which you have to give in your application. And then you have to give the job code that is there in COS. You can find the job code in the migrant employment details, job title and job type, and you can use this code. So this is the field where we have seen when we are applying for the skilled worker visa. So how you have to see whether your job code is in the immigration salary list is you just have to click the link here and search with the code, job code. If you find your code, that means you are in the list. If you don't see your code in this list, you can simply go with no. Here we have to give the sponsorship details and we have those details. Again, these fields can be found in the COS, exact start date and how many years, everything. So fill that data exactly that is there in the COS. You can find the dates here, start date and end date. So you mention all of them. Here in my case, sponsor is maintaining. It's an yes for me, but make sure you cross check with your COS. So here we have to verify if we want to use the same email ID. Yes. If you want to give any additional email address, you can give, but if you don't want to, you can just say no. And you have to give your telephone numbers to use within UK and outside UK. Make sure you give it along with your country codes. If you have any other mobile numbers if you want to give, you can also mention here. In case you don't want, you can just skip this step. So you can also mention what is your preference, how you want to be contacted, like call and text or only SMS. So here from this part we have to fill details of the dependent. So till now we have filled details of the original applicant. So from here we have to give the details of the dependent. Always remember given name is a combination of first name and middle name if you have any middle name. Otherwise you can just give first name in the given name field. Okay, going to the next field, any other names, if you have any other names or name changes you can mention it here. Otherwise you can go with no. You have to fill the address. Make sure you are giving the same address as your applicant if you are currently residing together in the current location. I'm going to use same address for the correspondence also. So I'm giving an address where they can reach out to me for any details. Like for example, if my visa is approved, I'll get back my passport to this address if I want. So give an address where they can reach you and you have proper details to submit. So this address is very important while we are filling dependent visa because we have to prove our relationship through this visa application. That means skilled worker visa original applicant and the dependent should be living in this area for at least 2 years in the address they have mentioned. It can be own or rental. If it is rental agreement can support you, and if it's a own, maybe a property tax can support you. And also in the same way, if you have any bills like internet bills, gas, or if there are any bills that you have your name on it, your applicant name and also your name, it can be separate bills also. For example, you have internet connection name on your dependent name and maybe gas on your primary applicant name, you can use both of them. You can also provide your bank statements with this address to prove that you are living in this address for some time. So you can use any of the bills or the bank statements. So let us fill the details here. For example, the place where you're residing is not on your name, but it's on your partner's name, but you're residing. Then, in that case, I'll click other and mention the details like I'm living with my partner and my partner owns the original flat or apartment. So, you can also mention that clearly so that you can avoid issues later. Here you have to give your passport details and make sure you give all the details matching with your passport. Not even a single mistake. Issue date, expiry date, and the place of issue, name, everything should be exactly matching with the passport. I'll give passport as my ID card too. So I'll click yes and I'll give the passport number and all the details of my passport here. Here you have to mention nationality as mentioned in your passport, all these details here. If you have more than one nationality, you have to provide all those details. If not, you can go with no. Here we have to give the planned travel information. So if you're planning to travel along with your partner, you can always choose the same date. But if you're traveling later, mention the date. But while you're giving the date, make sure this is the date your visa will be eligible from, and it will be eligible for 90 days. If you click here, it will tell you, for example, if your visa is granted for like from March 1st, you will have 90 days window where you can travel. So give the date wisely. Give your language preference. Give your partner details. Do your partner details matching with their passport. Also mention, do they currently live with you? For example, if you're also mention, do they currently live with you? For example, if you both are traveling together, you can directly mention yes. And if they have traveled before and now we want to go later, in that case you will say no because you're not living together right now. For example, they are in UK right now, and if you want to give their address, you can give their address. But right now you're together and you want to travel together, you'll keep it as yes. Will they be traveling with you to the UK? So if they have already traveled, keep it as no. But if you're traveling together, keep it as yes. Okay. In my case, I'm traveling later. So partner has already left to other countries. So in that case, I'll give no and I'll give their address. This address should be a UK based address if they're currently living in UK. So do I have permission to stay? Yes. This is about this field is about your previous application. If you have visa before and then they will live together in the UK continuously since you were last completed. So this question is about if you have visa before. So in my case, I don't have a visa before, so I'll go with no. Permission to stay as their partners. If you are already holding a visa, that means you have permission, but you don't have a. So here I'm applying for the new visa. So I don't have a visa before or permission to stay before. So I'll go with the no here. Are you married? Yes. Do you have marriage certificate? Yes. So you have to give the date. Arranged marriage? Yes. Proxy marriage? No. Again, in this case, we have to mention if we are traveling together, so then we are living together for the last 2 years. Yes. But if your partner has already traveled and if you're going later, in that case, you have to mention it no, because you clearly know that your partner has traveled to UK and you're living in India or other country you're currently in. You can mention here details. I just kept it informal here, but you can mention it very clearly why you're not living to the. Here I have mentioned informally, but while you're mentioning, keep it a little formal and mention clearly why you are not living together because your partner is already in UK and you're applying for this visa application so that you can join him. So evidence of why you lived apart, yes, we can show the visa and travel tickets which your partner has traveled, so you can mention it here. Evidence of continued relationship while living apart, this is the critical part where, for example, if your partner has traveled, evidence of continuous relationship, in this case you have to mention if you have traveled, in this case you have to mention if you have in this case you have to mention if your partner has traveled to and fro to meet you or not based on the evidences you have. For example, they have lived for the long time and they're coming and going, we can mention the tickets. Are you related to your partner? No. This all talks about your marital history. If you have any other details you have to mention, you can mention, otherwise we'll go with no. So this is about your details and also your partner details. Okay. So do you have any people financially dependent on you? So if you have, do you have people financially dependent on you? So this includes children under 18, over 18 who look after you and all those. So for example, if you have a kids, you have to mention yes. In that case, do you have people dependent on you? If you have kids, you can mention it is S, or otherwise you can go. Okay. Here you have to mention if you have any people dependent on you, like your kids or your parents or whom you need your. In this case, in this step, you have to mention if there are any people dependent on you. If you have kids or parents to look after, you can mention yes. Otherwise, you can go with no. So here we have to fill our parent details. So here, from here, all the details are common, just like yours. From From here, all the details are common, just like your skilled worker visa. You have to give your parent details and then you have to give the declarations. Let me show you the filled application where you'll see all the fields next to this step. So once you filled your family details, you have to specify the address where you're going to stay. This is same as like how we have mentioned in the skilled worker visa. We have to mention your office address, and if you know the address where you're staying, you can give it. And then you have to mention your travel history, like have you ever traveled to UK before, and if you have UK visa before, or if you have gone on any tourism, anything you have to clearly mention here. It can be any type of visa, but if you have traveled to UK before, you have to mention. In my case, I have not traveled before, so these are all no's for me. Any other country also. So here also, just like skilled worker visa, there are few countries listed. If you have ever visited to any of these countries, you have to mention yes, and you have to mention the details of the visa and the travel information. But in case if you haven't, you can mention it as zero. And after that, just like we have seen for the skilled worker visa, we have to give a declaration about our criminal history, whether we are part of any criminal activities, terrorist activities, or war activities. So in all these cases, we have to mark this as no, and I have read the conditions. So all are no's for this. So if you have anything that you want to convey that in your application details, you can give it in the extra information field. We call it as a cover letter. So you can mention, like for example, if you're living with your husband, and if your husband has traveled to UK, and if you are going after him, so anything if you want to convey it through the application, you can mention it here. So after once you submit this step, you can see the list of mandatory documents that needs to be submitted. These include your passport, your partner's passport, COS, and also marriage certificate and proofs to show your relationship status. I'll cover more details about the documents needed in my next video. But if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.